Hello, so I'm just at Cirque du Soleil with Anthony, who's one of the event assistant apprentices here. I'm just going to put him on video so he can introduce himself and talk a little bit about what he's been doing in his job role. Okay.
Hello, I'm Anthony Stavell. I'm a student with Big Creative Education and my placement is here with Cirque du Soleil.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to ask a few questions based around the behaviours of the event assistant standard. So firstly, can you tell me how you've remained enthusiastic and given a positive approach to providing swift and accurate service with the role that you're doing?
Yeah, I would say that in being enthusiastic in my approach to work is very important, because I need to maintain very strong relationships with all the people that I'm working with,
Yeah.
Be that my colleagues or even like external companies that we work with, because we collab with quite a lot of other brands. It's very important. What was the rest of it?
So how would you say that you provide a swift and accurate service? So if your question, say from an external client or a supplier, are you pretty good at providing a swift response, or is there a certain kind of lead time you wait for until you know what the answer are, or do you always kind of respond with an email just to sort of be polite about the situation and say that you're dealing with it? Or
Yeah, definitely. I find it important to constantly, almost like a like log of information, but translated to communication. So
yeah,
anytime someone emails me, I'll have to respond straight immediately,
yeah,
or as quick as possible. I've also got like a to-do list, checklist.
Yeah.
So any time a piece of information or a task is directed towards me, I straight away list that down, and I can prioritise that and respond.
Excellent. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Could you give an example of where you've perhaps been in a team meeting with the rest of the team and you've contributed some ideas and shared with confidence? So you've come up with an idea that's pretty fresh and you've got confidence in that and you think that's going to get heard and perhaps you can follow it through.
Yeah, this summer,
Yep.
I was put in charge of the reps
Yep.
for Cirque du Soleil, so the ticket representatives, that is.
Yep.
I actually wanted to improve their experience and make it something more worthwhile for them to do.
Yeah.
And also like boost the professionalism
Yeah.
of it as well.
Yeah.
I do actually have some evidence of how I done that on my computer.
Excellent.
So what I did is I created this application form on Google Forms, and it explains the key responsibilities, what we provide, and any optional paid event work, because I think that this wasn't being communicated effectively to our representatives. And the main thing was also changing their job title to Cirque du Soleil brand ambassador.
Yeah.
And then I created this image here, and then it's just basically an application form to which we've got, if you can see up here, should be pointing, shouldn't I? 165 responses, which was one of the highest I've ever got from an immediate call out for reps to work with us.
Okay, that's excellent. And what did the rest of the team think to that? Were they impressed, happy?
The rest of the team been really happy with it.
Yeah.
Of course, that lies within the results.
Yeah.
With the sheer amount of applicants that we got.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So could you give me an example of where you've been in a situation where you've had to remain calm due to, an incident or something happening at an event?
Yeah, at an event would be a good one to go with. I think there was a Nottingham show
Yep.
And we had an issue with basically, actually, so at the beginning of the event I spoke to the venue manager.
Yep.
And the security. After doing a main like typical brief, one of the topics that we spoke about was how many not guest lists we have, like how many people we have backstage.
Yeah.
So they have like a access all areas wristband.
Yeah.
And we discuss a quota. It's normally an agreement between both parties.
Yeah.
And it was around say 20 backstage. So they actually gave me these wristbands and I handed them out, so they were all accounted for and there was no loose wristbands. During the event, towards the end of the event, one of the acts actually invited up some of the public onto the stage.
Okay.
So we had a few girls and boys all dancing on stage.
Yeah.
And I'm looking over to security and they wasn't really happy, looking quite angry about it.
Yeah.
But I knew at this point in time, I was able to assess it and think that the guys that were on the stage actually wasn't going to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
They weren't going to go backstage.
Yeah, they're not going to move.
So I quickly went over to security.
Yeah.
It went over to head security because he was in my vision, and I spoke with him and said, how can we deal with this? And of course, at first he said, "Oh, this isn't something that we wanted to happen."
Mm-hmm.
But I'll quickly speak with the venue manager. He radioed through. They said that it would be okay, but we of course have to make it accounted for and get them some wristbands. So I quickly ran down to the venue manager's office.
Yeah.
Grabbed some extra wristbands. Made my way up backstage and presented them to her. So
excellent.
they were pretty happy with that, and it was
that can be quite
it was stressful.
hairy.
Yeah, it was very stressful.
Especially when you've got a venue packed full of people as well.
Because we had already pre-planned
that
we wasn't going to let this happen. But
yeah, you'd already organised who would have that access to those wristbands. Yeah, I think that's the nature of events. You've got to think on your feet at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Happens a lot. Okay, right, so moving on to how you take pride and you've attention to detail with something you may have produced. So I know you've spoken a lot before about promotional material. So could you talk us through some artwork that you've developed for perhaps your social media pages or an event that you've got coming up?
Attention.
Yeah, your attention to detail, your accuracy.
Yeah, definitely. I can actually tell you, because I was discussing this with the team yesterday.
Yeah.
I do quite a lot of artwork, and it's put out onto all of our social channels, be it Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
And it contains lots of images of the artists, which of course you have to get the right artist for the right post.
Yeah.
But predominantly it's the text.
Yeah.
That either goes with the post or is being put onto the artwork.
Yeah.
I have to make sure that this text is, of course, like spelt correctly,
Mm-hmm.
the grammar is right.
Yeah.
And then that the message is clear
Mm-hmm.
and it makes sense to the consumer. I was actually making a poster a few days ago.
Yeah.
And it was our lineup poster. At the bottom it had a lineup of the acts that we're about to release, but at the bottom it had all the cities that we were going to be featuring.
Yeah.
Our shows. I could tell that the spacing was incorrect, like in between the cities. No one else would even notice.
Yeah, it's a really small, insignificant
really
thing, but
like, I suppose talking about attention to detail, I knew it was wrong, so I had to
so you changed
go back
it
and change it before we actually released the post.
Okay, has the post gone live?
It goes live tomorrow.
Okay.
So.
Have you got any examples of any artwork that you've created?
Yeah, I do. So talking about this is actually the one that I haven't changed because I've changed it in Photoshop.
Yeah.
So you can either not see or see that with what I was talking about with the spaces between.
Yeah, I can actually. I know you pointed it out, but it's something that you'd have to look
when
at.
someone's reading it, they probably wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like a tour poster.
Yeah.
All of our dates. This is a cover for Facebook. This is what a cover photo would look like for our lead show.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think I should have some. This is like creating artist cards.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah,
this can be
that.
used for.
Are these all of your artists? Yeah, Congo United. Oh, excellent.
Yeah, these are ones we've got.
So
upcoming tour. So we've got a really good.
Do you speak to their management team or to get their artwork and?
Yeah. So when I speak to the artist agents.
Yeah.
They. This is going on to like logistics and advancing. Once the contracts are signed by Tom and Luke, my directors and managers, it's then passed on to me, and I hit them up with message. Sometimes it might have to be a couple of times because they need chasing. And I asked them for the travel and hotel requirements, and then also for their press pack. So the press pack includes the biography of the artist, and then their press shots. So these press shots are then transferred to the artwork,
which is here,
which we can use.
Which looks fabulous.
Yeah, as a promotional tool.
Cool. Ideas for your artwork. I really like that. Who comes up with that kind of theming and concept around? It looks like a little bit of, animals,
so
circus.
Our nights are circus themed.
Yeah.
So we've always got that running
it's got
theme.
retro kind of feel as well.
We have these creative designers.
Yeah.
And we hit them up after having meetings and talking about the artwork and what we want it to include. We've always been big, bright, colourful, bold, because that's exactly what our shows are like too.
Yeah.
Just think confetti explosion.
Yeah.
So yeah, we put a brief to the artist, and the artist comes up with a idea / concept and sends it to us, and then it's usually a few weeks after that of trying to get it exactly right.
Yeah.
Because the first draft is never what it ends up being like. We played around with like black and white aspects. We played around with changing our logo to different colours, which we thought didn't actually work in the end, so we kept it back to our original black and white colours, but we just we added like some bold ribbon of triangles around it.
Yeah, and that's cool. Okay, I'm just going to stop there because I feel you've answered those questions in detail, so I'm going to stop.